the practice against the Falcons yesterday. How about Emmanuel Ogbah getting the 3 sacks? And again, you look at some of the let's say situations that certain players are in on this team. Emmanuel Ogbah is in the second year of his 2-year deal in a prove-it type contract. And I think halfway, 3/4 of the way of this season, if the man is kicking ass, you'll hear about a new contract at some point. I don't think they'll give it to him now after one season. I think they're going to want to see him do it again during this season. Carrot dangling, he's got to go out and kick ass. Will Fuller. Will Fuller's dealing with an injury. Will Fuller will serve a 1-game suspension in week 1, so he won't be available, right? Will Fuller knows that he then has 16 more games to prove himself. Luckily for him, there's a 17-game season. So the game he's missing, he still technically gets an old school style 16-game season. If that's old school, what do we call 14 games? Anyway, so he gets his 16 games to prove himself, but he's on a 1-year contract. Carrot dangling. It's interesting how he has set him. I'm talking about the general manager, Chris Grier. There are certain players on this team. Adam Shaheen doesn't have a long-term contract. He got picked up in a trade last year. I believe he has maybe a year left on his deal, if I'm correct. I'll look it up for you. But again, you look at it, and he's playing well too. So you see him playing well, and you're like, okay, here's another guy that's got his career on the line in a way because it didn't work out for him in Chicago. And because it didn't work out for him in Chicago, he has to make it work out here because, unfortunately, he doesn't have why, man, I thought I had it right here. Okay. There we go. See if I guess I didn't spell it right. So he's got to make it work out. Now, can I say I just hate, what's that called? Spell check. That son of a bitch just changed it. I put Shaheen and it put something else on there. Bastard. But Shaheen is another guy. I'm pretty sure I'm right. He's got 1 year left. So Shaheen is another guy that has to prove himself in order to get a new contract here or somewhere else. X-Man. They gave him the money, right? Now, if you follow this the way it really is, this was only a temporary fix. They gave him the money for this year. Next year, his salary goes back to where it was at $12 million. And they guaranteed it if he's on the roster. But they did that because they probably will trade him before March 3rd, unless they agree to give him more guarantees next year and then make him feel good for one more year. They're not going to give him a long-term contract on top of this. So X knows that if he wants to get more money next year or a new contract or traded or anything like that, guess what he has to do this year? He can't get in any trouble off the field. He can't get injured. He's got to ball out. So again, carrot dangling in front of another player. It's interesting how he's kind of set this up with certain players because it gives the Dolphins the leverage you're looking for. And listen, you could look at it however you want. Oh, the Dolphins are taking advantage. The Dolphins this. No, the Dolphins are dealing with intelligence. Because what you don't want to do is overcommit at times. You want people to kind of meet you halfway and before you give them the money. You don't just want to pay somebody just because you're pressured into it or you think you made some kind of a mistake or something along those lines. So I love the fact that there are certain players on this team that have to have great performances in order for them to, hey, Vince Beagle, that's another guy that's coming back from a knee injury. He was a very useful player before he got injured. They found a nice little role for him. But there's a veteran player also that if he's playing for a future, he's got to play like a werewolf. Bernardrick McKinney, he got his salary cut. It was $7 million. But the Dolphins know that they've got a limited linebacker there. They love him against the run. I love him against the run. I've told you he's going to be a thumper. He's going to knock the crap out of people in the running game. Miami's going to be so much better against the run. I can't wait for week 1 to watch Bernardrick McKinney knock the crap out of Cam Newton. And it's hard to do that. You got to be a big, strong linebacker to rock Newton. Dolphins have it in Bernardrick McKinney. So you start looking around the roster, and there are certain guys that have everything on the line right now. And that's smart. That's a smart GM in Chris Grier to be able to put his team in that position.